Well, hello and welcome back to the 5 minute warning. And as a previous experience might suggest, possibly a little bit more. I'm Matt Sheahan from PlanetSail, and I'm joined, as always, by.
Andy writes from Sailjuice, and I'm out in La Grande in the south of France.
So, as we've said before on a couple of these, 2024 looks set to be a very, very busy season indeed. So, Andy and I decided that we would bring you some regular updates on what's going on because one or both of us is often at some of the cool places that are happening at the moment. And it's a great opportunity to check in. And today is a good example. It's Wednesday, the 8th of May. So, let's kick off with you, Andy. Where are you and what are you up to?
Okay, so Le Grand is not far from Montpellier in the south of France, not far from Marseille, where the Olympic regatta will be taking place. And I'm at the Nacra World Championships along with the 49er and 49er FX European Championships. And just behind me, you'll see that the 49ers and the 49er FX fleets are rigging up and getting ready to go racing. The Nacras are already out there. This is day 2 out of 6 days of competition. It was a full-on day yesterday. It was a lot of nosedives, a lot of pitch poles for the 49er FXs out in the afternoon, and also the Nacra 17s. A bit of injury, nothing major, fortunately, a bit of damage, nothing too major, but quite a busy day in the boat park fixing boats at the end of a really hectic day. And today, second day, it looks like it's going to be breezy again, blowing offshore, very shifty, and a lot to play for because this is the last major regatta before the Olympic Games. So a last chance to line up on a big start line with all your opposition.
How much does this event count for actual selection? And do all the players at this event know that they're going to the games and therefore using this as a training thing, or is this part of team selection as well?
All but a few know that they are going to the games. There are, for example, in the Nacra, 3 national trials still in play. That's USA, Sweden, and Austria. So they know they've got a spot for one of their teams. They just don't know who yet. And by the end of this week, I think all of those sailors will know whether they are going to the games or not. So this really is last chance saloon, and by this time next week, I think we will know the names of all the athletes that are going to be representing at the Olympic Games.
The Nacra and the 49ers are both twitchy classes. How much extra pressure does that put on? Do you feel it? I mean, you used to sail once, you're well versed with the 49ers. Do you feel that tension in the dinghy park, or is this just business as normal? It's just a bit tougher out there when it gets breezy.
No, I think it does always add a little bit to the tension. I think it changes the atmosphere in the boat park. But looking at the photos of the Nacra yesterday, okay, our local photographer Didier Hilaire was maybe playing up the crashes and the burns, and it wasn't all of that. But if you look at the photo gallery, you think it might have been. And you look at those, and you wonder, how did half the fleet not end up in hospital in Montpellier last night? And I think maybe 2 or 3 years back, it would have been a much higher injury count. And somehow they've learned how to fall. You know, a bit like acrobats and people in other dangerous activities where gravity's involved, and sudden stops. They've learned how to fall round the bow without hurting themselves.
I never mastered that. I was always straight through the mainsail and then had a big bill afterwards. Not in a 49, I have to say. Couldn't even cope with that. Well, you might have been watching stuff for real out there. As always, I've been watching television most of the time at the moment. But it is an exciting time right now because the cup boats continue to be launched. We've just seen the 5th AC-75 being launched, the American boat. That's what's been catching my eye. In fact, that was launched and went sailing yesterday for the very first time. And interestingly, they are the only team to have done what the Kiwis did and launched their boats in the morning and then go sailing in the afternoon, which was pretty impressive because they're complex boats. But theirs is a very, very interesting boat. And I'm not going to tell you all about it now because I know that you'll want to see the full thing, Andy. So I'm going to do a little.
Don't ruin it for me.
I won't, no spoilers, but there's some very interesting details on the crew configurations that are very different to the other boats. And the boat itself, actually, the most angular bit of the thing that's interesting about their boat is that the most angular part of the boat is actually the paint job and not the boat itself, which is quite different to the others, because the others all look, maybe with the exception of the Kiwi boat a bit, but they all look quite distorted in places to sort of meet certain rule issues and the rest of it. But Patriot, as she's called, is really as slippery as a bar of soap with an angular paint job. But it's a really, really, as I say, really interesting boat, very interesting foils, and yeah, there's going to be quite a lot of chatter about that boat.
But as Tom Slingsby has said, as long as he gets the boat that's the same as the Kiwis, that's all he wants. He doesn't want anything special. He just wants something that's competitive and let the sailors do the rest. So we'll see in your PlanetSail video, Matt, whether you think that's the boat that has been delivered to Tom Slingsby, Paul Goodison, and the rest of them.
Yeah, it certainly looks like, again, without spoiling it, it certainly looks like you can sort of see the development from their previous boat in this one. But yeah, it's fascinating stuff. But I've also been looking at more television, obviously, and the other thing that's really caught my eye has been this Transat CIC. It used to be called the OSTAR, Single-Handed Transatlantic Race. I think we talked about it last week, and that has been really interesting because it's this is a Vendée Globe year. They all start in November. And this is the first of the last two big offshore races before the Vendée Globe. So it's a real proving ground, testing ground, and it's thrown up some very interesting results. 33 IMOCAs started. I should also say there is a fleet of Class 40s there as well, but we haven't really I haven't looked as closely at those, I have to admit. But the IMOCA's been very interesting because some of the big names that we thought were going to be right at the top were out and had suffered structural damage and the rest of it. And we've seen a very interesting, I will spoil this bit because the three of them absolutely deserve where they finished on the podium. Johan Richem on Paprec Arkea, but he's a very talented sailor. Boris Herman came second in Malizia, and that's really good. I think that's a career best for him. And Sam Davies came third, and she made no bones about the fact that, you know, this was the best IMOCA ranking she's had in a major ocean race, and she's been doing it quite some time. So really interesting to see these three who've got a lot of miles under their belts. They don't have, their boats aren't quite as extreme as some of the big sort of ocean gods, but they got to the other side and got on the podium. So there's going to be an awful lot said about that. So that's been really interesting as well. And of course, we are going to be covering that in PlanetSail as well, whilst I'm getting a bit of plug in.
Excellent. Well, Matt, talking of that, I've got one of my Roads of Gold chats coming up with an offshore legend, a veteran of the last three Volvo Ocean and Ocean races. So watch out for the link below this video for the announcement on that. So we're going a little bit offshore with my Roads of Gold program, which mostly focuses on this Olympic scene. We're broadening it out there as well. So anyway, Matt, I better get back to my reporting here at the 49er and Nacra Championships, and you've got some videos to produce in IMOCA and America's Cup World. So I'm going to let you get on with that.
Thank you, jolly good. And I had to say I didn't start a stopwatch this time, but I reckon we're pretty close to 5 minutes this time, weren't we? Probably not.
Oh yeah, I mean the fleet's only just gone around the Wimbledon mark. We're fine.
Yeah, I suspect we were still OCS in both cases. Right, good. Well, enjoy it out there, and we'll speak to you a little later.
All right. Cheers, Matt.
Cheers.